My dad's 86.
I'm an old guy.
Do you have a bullhorn?
Oh, the stream is live. Okay, let's go. Oh, I was explaining earlier, and I didn't finish. We have this distribution method to distribute our show. It's oh yeah, I kind of explained a little bit of it. We put it out as many places as we can. So if you're a broadcast engineer and you're on Facebook, you can't miss us. We're going to show up somewhere in your feed. We're going to show up. So let's see. Yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, 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 check. 1, 2. Is that any better? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, I don't like to hit the red.
DBFS or DBM?
I don't know. It's Suncast. It's SU Suncast
Okay.
units.
DBSU.
TBSU. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Share this to a page. We'll share this out to TWiRT. And uh-oh. That'll go away in a second. Share that. Off. Oh, go away.
Go away.
Did that get shared? Come on. Look, Facebook is so terrible. All right. And see, it got shared. Let's see. We'll share this to my page. And we'll share this out to the Broadcasting Club. TWiRT, the show you can't avoid.
Have too many windows open.
No, this should work. Let's see. Where is my page? Oh, I see the problem. Got to change this back to my persona. This is why we take 5 minutes to get ready, because it takes a while to get this shared out to all the right places. Oh, where is it?
Sure. They still alive. Last time I heard it was.
Come on, let's find a copy of it. We're really not going to find a copy of it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's just find it here. And we'll like. And you know this.
Well, no, he didn't, but okay, yeah.
Yep, there we go. Okay. I'll put your name on it. Larry Wilkins. There. Now all your friends will know. Oh, let's give it.
All my friends.
All your
All two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got lots of friends on Facebook.
Because, yeah.
It's a lot of people money. No, I think.
All right. Good deal. It's almost starting time. I guess Mr. Tarr's not here yet. He said he was fighting the internets.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's a director of engineering for a group of about 45 stations in Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's called Magnum Media. He sings high praises for the owner. Says the owner, not whatever Chris wants to do, but the owner's always looking to improve and do things better. Okay, Chris, period. Hope you win the battle and would love to see you, period. Okay. Make sure phone's on stun. Let's see. Matt will be standing by with some props, right? Where's the props sitting at, Matt?
Right here.
Oh, okay, over there. All right, cool. I think we ought to bring what do you think is the most mysterious prop we've got?
Matt?
Probably the tube. A lot of people probably don't know what that is. Well, I mean, in radio they would. But.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's start with the tube up here. And is it a Russian tube?
It's a Russian tube.
Ooh.
That's why it's purple.
Aha.
Their ceramic is purple over there.
Aha.
A hot tube. That was a hot tube. I had
Is
to
that
turn
a-
the driveway.
we got us a Putin tube right here.
A Putin tube.
Putin tube. That's right. That's right. All right, comrade, tell me about tube. All right, I guess we're ready to start, right? It is a minute after, so we better get going. All right, we will start the show. This is episode number 685, live from the Alabama Broadcasters Association. And we'll start our show in 3, 2. Hey, welcome into This Week in Radio Tech. It's the show where we talk about everything from this old engineer
Oh, yes, that's right.
to the oh, we're going to keep that a secret.
Oh.
Yeah. But Comrade will tell us about tube, yes?
Yeah, just a while.
I'm Kirk Harnack. I'm here in Hoover, Alabama, at the headquarters of the Alabama Broadcasters Association. And this is Larry Wilkins. Hi, Larry.
Hello, hello.
Professor Wilkins.
Yes, sir. Straight from L.A.
That's
That's Lower Alabama.
Lower Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So we'll give a quick introduction as to why we're here. And by the way, Chris Tarr may be joining us. He says he's out in the boondocks fighting the internet. I didn't know the internet was in the boondocks.
Sometimes it is the way the traffic is.
That's right. But Chris may be joining us. I hope so. So we're in Hoover, Alabama, at the which is just a suburb of Birmingham,
Right.
at the ABA, and you guys do something here a couple times a year, right?
Right.
What's it called this week?
It's called the ABA Engineering Academy.
Mhm.
And we started back in 2012. And we do one class for radio, and then a couple of weeks later, we do one for television, and then we repeat that again in the fall. So,
And you and Frank Giardina, one of the other professors, were here on the show a few weeks ago.
that's correct.
And I said, we're going to come down and broadcast live from the academy.
And that was just so exciting. I just told everybody, all two.
So we've got some really cool show and tell. In fact, you want to go ahead and hold this up for
I
us,
can.
right? Can you hold it in the camera range there? Yeah, and it's purple,
It's purple.
and it's a tube.
That tube came out of a Continental transmitter, 35 kilowatt transmitter. You put 400 watts in it, you get 35,000 out.
Wow,
That's a lot of gain.
That's a lot of. Now you don't get anything for free though, do you?
No.
You get 35,000 watts of RF out, but you got to put some DC in.
You have to do that. About
Yeah.
10,000 to do it, I think.
Yeah, 10,000 volts.
10,000 volts.
And what, 5 amps or so?
About 4 or 5.
4 or 5 amps?
Yep.
Wow.
And it will do it.
And do they make these in America anymore?
Oh, yeah.
They do, but this one didn't come from America.
No, this came across the pond, and I was trying to get a new tube, and I found this one, and this was actually made over in the Soviet country.
Yeah.
That's why the ceramic is purple. I'm not sure why.
Can you hold that back up again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you hold that
why.
there for the rest of the show?
Oh, yes, I'll be glad to. I need my exercise anyway. But for some reason, their ceramic material is purple. I have no clue of why that is.
Does it have that terrible beryllium in it?
I don't see anything. No.
So I guess we could affectionately call that a Putin tube.
That would work. That's right. Yeah, this works just the same as the ones that's made in the United States. And
Yeah.
although this tube, I'll be honest with you, was really hot when I put it in the transmitter.
Yeah.
I had to pull the drive down. It was
Oh.
making way too much power.
Oh, you mean it was performing well?
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
Plus, it got hot, as you can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was performing really well, and it put out so much power. I had to bring the input power way down.
We've got more show and tell to do on This Week in Radio Tech this week, and we've got the students are all here. They're behind the camera, but the scholars, the people who attended this week, they're all here. They are now ready for a test tomorrow, right?
That is correct. You can
Yeah.
just see the knowledge just oozing out of their head, And the tests are here, by the way, and
Yeah.
I've offered, they for a small fee they can take them to the hotel.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't let Megan hear that at the SP.
At the SP. Well, what they don't know is we're going to have them up here one at a time. We'll just ask them some random questions.
Hey,
What do you
that'd be
think?
good. That'd be good.
No, in all seriousness, a few of the people who have attended here today or this week, we're going to find out, what are the most valuable things that they learned here this week. I think that's a good thing to know,
That's a great idea.
because engineering today is probably somewhat different than it was, let's say, in 1980, 44 years ago.
Well, I would say last week.
Yeah.
Technology is changing so fast, and I told the crew this week, I said, it's changing so fast. If you don't keep up, you're going to be behind in just about a week or a month, because it does change.
Well, we ought to get together more often then, not just once or twice a year.
I know I change.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. All right. It's Kirk Harnack and Larry Wilkins is here. Frank Giardina may show up. We
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
said he was coming.
Okay. Stuck in traffic.
He's stuck in traffic
Okay.
with.
Also, we've got now. Not all of them are going to come say hi, but Dominic, Drew, John, Matt, Jed, and Lloyd are all here as well.
Yeah, we normally like to have about 8 to 10 in the class. That way we have time to answer questions from each one. You get too many, it's hard to answer questions. And so 8 to 10 a class. And we did do one time, I think you were at, that we had around 90.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was so big we had to move out of here and go to a junior college.
Wow. Well, yeah, that was an auditorium we did that one in. Wow. Well, we have some really handsome engineers here. Some of them should have been in television, but I'm glad they got into radio.
Which ones?
Stop it. This Week in Radio Tech is brought to you in part by our friends at Nautel. We've got a little quick video here, and we'll tell you about the upcoming Transmission Talk Tuesday.
Steve Schoen has asked, is it okay to use an LM34 to monitor outdoor temperature? And if so, how do you protect it from the elements? Josh, have you dealt with that?
Yeah, there are certain board designs. I think CircuitWorks made one that had an LM34 and a few other devices on it. Typically, when we've had to do those outside, we would try to do them in some sort of like a plastic project box or something along those lines, just to make sure that it was sealed up. You know, you have to put it in, but then you got to seal it up real tight with silicone or some kind of a sealing grommet or something like that. And don't use a black box. I had a station that did that. They rolled their own temperature sensor and stuck it outside in a black box, and 75-degree day, and it was reading 110. Oh, it's so hot. I'm like, it's not. You change it. Typically, the other thing that we recommend is on the bottom, drill some holes. If you mount it on a wall, make sure you drill some holes in the bottom, because you'll have condensation in there, and eventually it will fill it up. Not to mention the humidity of the condensation evaporating inside the box is going to corrode your components. So drill a couple of weep holes in the bottom.
Sort of a sidetrack. I walked into a site in Florida once, outside of Largo, near Orlando, and they were off the air, and we're troubleshooting, and the AC, they kept tripping the breaker. And I mean, it's what's going on? So walk outside. There's a NEMA box on the outside, one of our surge protectors, which are not really meant to be installed outside. I opened the door, and it let about 4 inches of water out of the box.
There's your problem.
Oops. So yeah.
Hey, you can watch lots of past episodes of Transmission Talk Tuesday from nautel.com/webinars. They have a new webinar coming up on March the 12th, I believe it is. Let me double check that. Yeah, March the 12th. And the topic is the rise of contract engineering groups, not just individuals like I was, but whole groups of contract engineers. It's going to be interesting to see what gets talked about. Paul Stewart is going to be one of the guests. Josh Bone should be a guest because he's got a contract engineering group. So we'll check that out. You can go register at nautel.com/webinars. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack. We are live in Hoover, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. And we're at the Alabama Broadcasters Association, the Engineering Academy. And sitting with me here is Dominic. What's your last name, Dominic?
Mitchum.
Mitchum.
Yes.
Dominic Mitchum. And you and I met years ago in New Orleans, didn't we?
Yes, you did a presentation at one of those expos for broadcasters, and it was great. Always learn great stuff about that.
I'm sure I forgot whatever I talked about.
I think you were talking about
ISDN maybe?
that or communications or audio principles,
Okay.
and it was good sound engineering stuff.
So you were an engineer in Louisiana?
Yes, in New Orleans.
Oh,
yes.
New Orleans. Okay. But now you've moved close by here in Alabama.
Yes, I am the director of engineering for Cumulus Media in Huntsville.
Wow. I was dealing with, rest his soul, Gary Klein on that facility years ago.
Yes.
So what kind of things are you making some improvements there? You got some?
Yeah, well, in making improvements, it's a lot of work. But one of the things I'm looking forward to is the studio refresh. And that is where we take the traditional broadcast type equipment, the consoles, the CD players, the in-studio hard drives and things like that, take all that out and we run just a few cat cables in
Mhm.
and put in a new IP infrastructure.
That has been such a huge change in the way we build studios. Boy, years ago, we built a studio. We would count up the number of cart machines and CD players and maybe some turntables, even a reel-to-reel machine, plus microphones, maybe an input if you brought a cassette recorder in to
Yes.
play an actuality for the news. And we'd count them all up, and
Yes.
we would see that's how many faders we needed on the console.
Right.
Oh, plus you had to add EBS back when it
Yes.
was EBS, right?
Yes.
And
EBS.
maybe you had an input for the satellite receiver.
Right.
That was a newfangled thing back in 1984.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
and we had lots of wires, but
Yes.
as you point out, it's different now.
Yeah, so we're taking away the punch blocks and the wiring bays and the routers,
Oh,
the traditional routers,
yeah.
and it's being replaced by an IP-based network of components that does all that, but in a smaller package, easier to operate, easier to program, and easier to maintain. So it's technology, and part of what this class that I attended this week here has been teaching is those very changes. And without knowing the latest, it's kind of hard to keep up when you, as Larry pointed out, this is a good thing.
You know, in Nashville, some years ago, Cumulus built this Nash facility,
Yes.
and they had a publishing arm in there. They had a morning show. Then they ended up building two additional nice studios. One was for like Nash at Night, which was a
Yes.
nationally syndicated show. And I remember when they built the first studio, there was a lot of work to do. There was a whole rack room,
Sure.
there were computers,
Mhm.
there was a whole video system involved.
Yes.
And it was a fair amount of work, and I don't know that it was a lot easier than had they used old-fashioned wiring methods.
Right.
But
But-
when they added the second studio,
Mhm.
literally, I think they ran more than one wire, but literally one Cat 6 cable could have carried everything, all the audio, all the
Yes.
GPIO,
Yes.
all the telephony,
Yes.
the request lines, everything. And that's kind of where we're getting at.
Yeah, gigabit technology. You spelled it out perfectly, Kirk. It is basically a culmination of all you talked about there, but being managed over an IP network that you simply categorize everything and then you program it to your liking and off you run.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's a different skill set, though. You do as much typing and
oh yes,
as anything else.
It's typing, and I don't have them on. They're on the table over there. My reader glasses,
Oh,
because I've done this for a long time now. Everything is the fine print's hard to read, but with the glasses, and now it's you just select what you want, and you can set up anything you want, route your signals wherever you want, bring in signals you want, without all of the extra equipment that we used to use.
Mhm.
You know, the Martys, the ISDNs, and you can now do your broadcasting from home or practically anywhere you can get a connection to the outside world.
And we've been talking about studios and studio IP technology, and
Yes.
that's all cool, and everybody needs to learn that.
Sure.
But you also are interested in the RF world.
I've always been interested in the RF world. I'm a hammer radio operator
Oh,
for
okay.
hobby, so
Okay.
I've always loved dealing with RF. I have a fond respect for high voltage, but these new transmitters drop the voltage and raise the current, so
Yeah.
it's a degree safer. You don't have to use the grounding stick at least as often. I still believe in safe practices, opening disconnects, things like that. But the technology, the transmitters have stayed up with the technology. Gone are the high-powered Russian tubes or American-made tubes, and they're being replaced by LDMOS technology. LDMOS is an acronym for what I know is metal oxide semiconductor, and
Anybody know what the LD stands for?
It slipped my mind. I knew
Yeah.
it, but I'll remember it. I'll remember it when I'm back over there later. But anyway, it's very efficient, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's so efficient that you can run a 50-volt supply and up to 600 amps of current, depending on the application, of course. That is the aggregate amount that's not on one transistor, of course.
This sounds like a Nautel 50 kilowatt transmitter you're describing.
Well, this could be either a 50 kilowatt AM transmitter or a 44 kilowatt FM transmitter.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of the technology is you get more efficiency. You have the ability to have the bandwidth. It's and just trying to think of all the benefits because it really is beneficial. The temperatures are cooler too. You're using less air conditioning. You're getting the same output power. You have also a degree of reliability. Whereas on tubes, you have a finite life because the temperature on those components takes its toll over time. And with LDMOS technology on RF circuits or the power modules, uh, you're afforded a greater mean time between failure. So
Oh, yeah,
that's one of the
yeah.
things I like. I also like being able to keep track of these things. I can use my computer to log in and read all the voltages. On the Nautels, for instance, you can look at the mask if you're running HD radio,
Right,
or if
right.
you're just running analog, you could look at just the regular signal parameters. Just you could also look at, like you mentioned, a Nautel AM transmitter. On there, you have a Smith chart, and engineers out there familiar with Smith charts, you can look and make sure your antenna is still properly tuned and behaving normally. And then if not, then you know you have a little job to do at the tower.
You know, this is one of the really cool things. We were talking before the show about my new FM station in
Yes.
Oxford, Mississippi.
Yes.
That's about a 3-hour drive from here, and we took literally a 10-year-old Nautel transmitter, 2.5
Yes.
kilowatt.
Right.
We disabled the exciter in it, and we
Yes.
hosed in the new FM HD exciter.
Oh yes.
Turned it on, and we were getting HD without much trouble at all. Got it on, but it wasn't as efficient as it should have been. And so we called Nautel,
Sure.
and they jumped into our computer that was on site,
Yes.
got in the AUI, they ran some diagnostics and some optimizations,
Right.
and some guy in Nova Scotia optimized our transmitter. We got more power out of it. We got really clean on the mask. And isn't that amazing what we can do with
That is one
that
of the
tech?
beauties of this new technology. And I dare challenge anybody to try to do that on tube in that
Yeah.
same fashion,
Yeah.
because you can only manipulate the bias voltage just so much before you go to lose the carrier altogether, or let's say that the drive one's away, and now you're doing more power than you ever imagined, that sort of thing. Well, with the newer solid state technology, the LD mosses are they're delicate, but you can with the proper utilization, you can calibrate those to where you can get the optimum performance out of it.
Remember how tech support and remote help with the transmitter used to be like in 1986?
Yes.
You'd be on the phone, and the tech on the other end of the transmitter company would say, okay, turn the loading control up and kind of peak that output. And I said, okay, I'm peaking it. I'm peaking it. I'm peaking it. Bam! I think you turned it too far.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you've had your fun with the high voltage.
Oh my goodness. So do you take care of some AM stations too?
I have in Huntsville. I have 2 AM stations I'm responsible for. Both are non-directional AMs. Then there's the FMs, which have 3 anywhere more powerful ones, and 2 translators.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes,
Anything that's interesting. So many translators are out there these days.
yes.
Is there any hints or advice you can give people about, is taking care of a translator any different than taking care of a more full power FM? Easier, harder? It's just smaller equipment?
It's smaller equipment. It's really the same, but with any transmitter, it requires the same care and feeding. You have to, just because it's a lower power signal, you still have to maintain it. You have to make sure your power level is the same as what your license allocates, and you still need to check on it, make sure that it's following all FCC compliance. And it's always a good idea to get out to the transmitter site at least once a week to check it.
And even on small transmitters, check those air filters too.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
critical. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of the new paramount things. That's because of the temperature of the solid state devices. They're not as forgiving with heat as the old tube devices were. Yes, you can get a hot tube transmitter, but it'll stay on the air, just won't be happy. On the transmitters with the solid state technology, you have to maintain that airflow. Those transistors get too hot and it will shut down.
I have this idea. We'll sell 1 million transmitters
Sure.
if we do this. Here's the idea. So most of these transmitters, you put power in and they put out, about 75% RF and 25% heat. What if we could take the heat in the room and add it to the power that you're feeding into the MOSFET?
Right.
And what if we actually made the room cooler by sucking heat out of the room to make more RF? Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, if it were physically possible, yeah. The trouble with that is by the time you convert that heat to energy,
Yeah.
you're making new heat.
More heat. That's right. Yeah, we always get heat no matter what we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're always going to have heat. But the key there is to be able to manage that heat in such a way where the transmitter is at a happy heat.
I see. I guess that's a silly idea. I'm going to have another tequila.
Hey, not a bad idea.
Dominic, man, it's been great talking to
Hey,
you.
great talking to
I
you, too.
appreciate. Oh, did you have a favorite thing that you learned here? Any one specific thing?
Oh, listen, this class, I've been in this business for almost 40 years. And I will tell you, I can't speak for anybody else but myself, but I've forgotten a lot of things. And this class has been a great refresher because all the things that Larry has dealt with from the fundamentals, Ohm's law, all the various things with voltage and current and RF circuits, the basic RF information, and the other facets we are dealing with now, especially in digital technology, also in the IP world, and all that is changing and evolving. And this class is a wonderful reference, and for any engineers out there, even the young guys that just got out of a training school and are aspiring to be engineer, this is a great reference, a great place to come and learn all the broadcast aspects, whether it's radio or television. And there's a lot of great things that I picked up here today, and I'm very grateful for it.
There's a great engineer we've had on the show before. His name is Tom McGinley.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you the Tom McGinley test.
Okay.
And let's see if you can pass it. Okay.
try.
Here we go. The Tom McGinley one question test is this: when he's interviewing a candidate for an engineering job,
Yes.
what impedance antenna would you connect to a transmitter with a 50 ohm output to get the maximum RF power transfer to the antenna?
I would go with 50 ohms.
Yeah, you're right. Yay! Ding, 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 ding. All right. Awesome. Dominic, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack. It's episode 685 of This Week in Radio Tech. We're in Hoover, Alabama, at Birmingham, really, at the Alabama Broadcasters Association Engineering Academy. We got more coming up after this word from Broadcast Bionics.
Camera One from Broadcast Bionics. Designed to bring video to your audio content. Visualizing radio and podcasts for social media. Camera One can automatically create, capture and brand professionally switched video for live streaming or upload, making your production shareable. Control and configure using a web browser on any device. Camera One is available as a 4-camera or 8-camera system using the Blackmagic A10 Mini range, including the A10 Mini Extreme. You can use cameras to suit your studio and your budget. You'll need one camera for a studio wide shot and usually one camera per microphone. A standard multi-channel sound card or IP driver monitors audio from each studio microphone, and we work natively with Axia systems. Ideally, this will be a post-fader feed from each mic, although you can use pre-fade audio or a mic split if that's all you have available. These audio levels are used to intelligently switch the video feed when each contributor is talking. You can also group microphones together into one shot and use the audio from a mixer's aux bus. You can use Camera One's auto switch feature, or disable it and switch using the on-screen buttons or the buttons on the A10. Recordings can automatically start when you tell the system you're on the air. This on-air indication can be linked to your studio's red lights via IP or an Avantec Adam GPIO interface. You can quickly browse all the videos that have been automatically created during your broadcast, download them and post. Camera One is a user installable system. You'll need a good spec Windows 10 PC, i7 with plenty of storage and 16 gig of RAM. It's better if this machine isn't used for anything else. Remember, you can control the software in a web browser on another device on your network. Camera One, a thrifty way of creating scroll-stopping video from your show or podcast from Broadcast Bionics.
Thanks so much to Broadcast Bionics for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech, and Camera One, plus lots of other cool things are available from Broadcast Bionics. Just amazing folks. They let you do radio with the work you're doing now, but you get more content and you get more social media sharing and more people excited about your broadcast shows and facility. Okay, it's This Week in Radio Tech, and look who's appeared here. It's
Well,
Josh
hello.
Bone.
Hi, Kirk. How are you?
I'm good. I understand that you're here just for a minute.
Just for a minute. I just wanted this. I heard you were in town, so I thought I would stop and say hi and say hi to everyone in this fine class.
We could turn the camera around, but not just yet. You are a sponsor of this event, the Engineering Academy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Your Max Connect company.
Yes. Have been since the beginning.
That's-
So what? 12 years now. Yeah.
What do you, I mean, sure, you want to get your name out there, your services out there, your wireless service, your engineering services.
I
But
don't have to do my ad. Kirk will do it for me.
but you're getting your name and services top of mind for this group of engineers, aren't you?
Well, and honestly, I want to make sure that this class is able to continue and that it's able to continue at no charge. I mean, that's the big thing. I've put all my people through here. I've got one here today. So, yeah.
Hey, if you'll hold the mic, I got a Max Connect box under here. It's my little
Kirk gave me the mic,
it's
folks.
my secret stash. Oh, I'll never get it back now. All right, let's see what's in the Max
All
Connect
right, let's
box.
see what's in the Max Connect box.
Said-
You've
it
got
says-
old
it
stuff.
says-
I need to get
know.
you new stuff.
I know this is old.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
get. Yeah, that's old. I need to get you
I
new
was
stuff.
I was going to put this on Antique Roadshow.
Yeah, that would be good. They
And
would look at it and
maybe-
go, "This is a vintage specimen."
What you got the floor for a minute. What do you want to tell us about Max Connect?
We don't sell these boxes anymore. So no,
These are dial-up.
what? No, actually, dial-up modems are better than those. Oh, did I
Oh
say
no,
that?
no.
No, the wireless service is it's a prioritized LTE. We've got it available on all three carriers. We've got almost 1,500 out in the field now. We've grown exponentially.
Wow.
Yeah, and put a lot of investment into making sure that the modems and routers that we're providing are of the highest quality that we can get without having to have the customer spend a fortune. We've got and I didn't think to bring it today because I just came from a station in Montgomery, but I brought a router in and showed it to the guys here, our CR202, which is our newest Cat6 modem that has built-in battery.
Oh,
And it charges with a USB-C,
Oh.
just a standard 2-amp cell phone. So if you're out doing something like this and you need to plug in the wireless, you can literally just take it out, turn it on, and plug it in. You don't have to worry about finding a wall plug. There's no more proprietary power connectors that you can break off or lose, or I just lost this adapter and now none of this will work. It's really slick and it's affordable. It's less than $400. It's affordable.
now so it seems like the 5G wireless companies are offering home internet service with a box of some kind.
Right.
What does Max Connect do that those things don't do? Why are broadcasters better served by your service?
Because we run in a higher tier. The cell phone networks are tiered, and your prioritized stuff runs up in a higher tier, up closer to life safety and E911 and things like that. So if there's a bandwidth restriction, like down in the lower tiers where your cell phone runs, and the home internet things are a little higher than your cell phone, but they're still not as high as ours. And if there's a restriction on the network, those are all going to get slowed. And some of them, sometimes they get slowed to the point where they won't work at all.
Yeah.
Ours will get slowed, but it won't get slowed ever based on usage. And even when it gets slowed due to excessive usage on the network, it's never going to get slowed to the point where you can't use it. I've only ever known of 3 instances where someone's connection got slowed due to excessive consumption to where they couldn't do their broadcast.
Mhm.
And we're still not even 100% sure that wasn't because they were using Wi-Fi. Don't use Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So that's I've had to explain that to a lot of people. So I'll say that here. When you go to an event and you're trying to do a broadcast and you have a codec or something that'll connect via Wi-Fi,
Right.
you think, oh, that's handy. I don't have to worry about a wire. Well, what people don't think about is every cell phone, hold your cell phone up, every cell phone out there that you have Wi-Fi turned on, even if it's not connected to anything, it's constantly pinging all 10 Wi-Fi frequencies. Constant. You multiply that times 500, and you've got all kinds of noise on the Wi-Fi bands.
Yeah.
So even if you have your device and your router sitting this right next to each other like this, there's still all kinds of noise on those bands, and you're not going to have a solid Wi-Fi connection.
You know what? We have discovered that through 685 episodes of TWiRT. The one thing that I've learned as an engineer is nobody's Wi-Fi is as good as they think it is.
That is exactly right.
And TCP/IP covers a lot of sins.
Yep.
If you're getting your email, if you're watching a Netflix movie, which has 10 to 20 seconds of buffering,
Yep.
you can have a problem for a while and you won't notice it. If your email is 30 milliseconds too slow coming in, who cares? But if your audio is, that
It's like a bad kung fu movie.
Yeah. Or a Godzilla movie.
Exactly, yes.
And that's why you want the prioritized data, but you also want to be wired whenever you can. to the
Yes,
device.
and-
In fact, we're wired right here. The Alabama Broadcast Association gave us a plug on the wall to
Yeah,
wire to.
they've got great internet here.
Yeah.
So
And even places where you think the internet is good, we've done live remote broadcasts in my kitchen with some cooking shows, and we did something for my son, and the Wi-Fi router literally is 12 feet away. Nope.
Nope.
Not.
it's amazing how bad you can learn that your Wi-Fi is as soon as you try to do real-time audio or video.
Yeah.
It's just unreal.
Yeah.
And that's not what it's designed for.
And to fix this problem, you call who?
Max Connect.
And that's we'll have the website, MAXX,
MAXXKONNECT.com.
and it's spelled funny because there's just too much internet.
There's no, because if I would have done it with one X, my kid would have got mad.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, gotcha. All right.
all right.
Hey, man, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Kurt.
Thanks for sponsoring my show and this Engineering Academy.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Good.
All right.
One of the good guys, it's Josh Bone. All right, we got Sharon up next. Hey, Sharon, okay, make your way up here. It's This Week in Radio Tech. We're live in Hoover, Alabama, which is, are we in middle Alabama? We're not in northern Alabama. Central Alabama. Not L.A., where Larry is from.
That's right.
This is Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hey, how are you, Kurt?
Good. What's your last name?
Tinsley with a
Tinsley.
T.
Oh, okay. Hi, Sharon.
Hey.
We've met before at another one of these functions.
We have.
Yeah.
We have. You've been to our conference many times over the years.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. I hope to come back soon, too.
We'd love that.
So tell me about this event, and then we're going to have some more engineers pop up here.
Well, this is somewhere in the neighborhood. I'm looking at Larry at 12 to 15 years that he's been doing this for us and for the industry and for everyone across the country. We started it because there's clearly a need for engineers, and we wanted, people said immediately, well, you can't turn somebody into an engineer in a week. Well, we know that. But it's as someone said earlier, it's a great refresher.
Mhm.
So for the pros out there, it's a great refresher. And then we've tried to get a lot of students in here, college age and master control operators at TV stations and those kind of folks who might have an inclination for engineering to give them a taste of what it's like and what it's about to hopefully reel them in to broadcast.
Cool. And now this is just one of a number of things that the ABA does, right?
Right.
What other engineering events does ABA put on?
Well, at our conference every year, Larry hosts an engineering session, which is all day. He picks the topics, invites speakers, and we normally have around 40 broadcast engineers from across the state attend. And then I'll give a plug. In March, we are part of a series of Third Thursday webinars that a lot of the state broadcast associations take part in.
Okay.
Larry's the speaker on March 21st at noon to talk about the alternate broadcast inspection program.
Ah, that's the APIB.
ABIP,
Okay.
you're right.
ABIP,
Yeah,
sorry. And then you also have a television version of this too, right?
Yes. Larry does a week-long intro class for television for this Certified Broadcast Tech Engineer, the CBTE class. These guys are all going to take a test tomorrow. Have you talked about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry is selling advanced copies of the test.
Oh, don't get us in trouble. But yeah, it's exciting.
That's our bar money.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, then let me pick the bar. But no, it's exciting, and I'm glad that these guys are here for it. We do TV, but also over the years we've done IP for broadcast, and he brings in someone to teach that class, and he's also not in this setting, but he's also taught many times over live music mixing for broadcast. Yeah.
That's cool. That's so cool. So, why is Alabama so active? Is it because of you and Larry? Are there some other conflagrations of talent that come together? Because really, ABA is an outstanding organization. It's looked up to by a lot of other state organizations.
Well, first, that's very kind. And second, it's all Larry. So it really is. I mean, how fortunate are we? We've got one of the premier engineers in the entire country. He loves what he's doing. I tell him all the time, he makes us look good. He really does. He's on the forefront of technology. He has a real passion for this class and engineers, not just in Alabama, but across the country. He's gone to other states to conduct engineering seminars for them. And we're just really, really fortunate that Larry happens to live in Alabama.
Did you know, and we're going to talk to Larry about this toward the end of the show, did you know that Larry sneaks into every radio station in Alabama, sneaks into their EAS box
Oh, yeah.
and makes sure that they're doing what's right.
That's right. Well, we're very competitive down here, in case you don't know about our football programs. And we're competitive at the ABA. And one of the things we want to have is the best EAS system in the entire country. And we define redundancy here. And I'm sure he'll talk to you about that. But we really do. We want to have one of the best. I feel like we have one of the best. And again, it's all Larry.
Sure, it's been great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Are you allowed to say Roll Tide?
Oh, Roll Tide. When you and when Josh was saying he had the only baseball cap on that he could have on safely, I have an Alabama helmet in my office. I almost went back to get my Alabama football helmet. So Roll Tide.
Well, Sharon,
Thank you.
Roll Tide.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you. All right, it's This Week in Radio Tech. That was Sharon Tinsley. Sharon, what do you do here? Are you the executive director of the whole thing? President. Okay, president. I guess that's better than executive director. Hey, Bob was about to come up here. Bob? John Mike. Not, I was thinking Bob Mike. Did John Bob Mike? No, oh, just okay. Just John Mike. Now, you're not one to say Roll Tide, are you?
No, I will say Go Dogs. How about that?
I got the way I feel about sports, and my friends know this about me. I'm not a big sports fan. I'm a fan of my friends, and I'm excited for their enjoyment of their sport.
Well, I'm
Now,
glad.
is that a good way to wimp out on it?
Yeah, it is. But I'm a Georgia fan in Alabama, so let me have my day. Y'all have had y'all's day for about 10, 15 years. Let me have my day. So,
Well, I live in Nashville, so I kind of have to be a Vandy fan, and that's just not much fun.
yes, I'm afraid it's not.
Well, so tell me about what you do and why you're here. I thought you were on the air. What are you doing at an engineering conference?
I am an on-the-air personality at WTBF. I do the morning show with my wife. Can you believe that? Yeah, we do the show together.
You can't get enough of her at home. You got to have her at work too.
Apparently so. But no, we do the show every morning in Troy, and we enjoy doing that together. And our engineer left our station. He retired. He was working for us part-time, and he was working full-time over at Troy University. And he left and got a job up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh.
So we lost our engineer. And before he left me Larry Wilkins' number. And he said, if you have any problems, you call Larry. And so luckily, I haven't had to call Larry, but just a couple of times. But that's probably the best thing I've taken away from this week is the networking. And when I say networking, I'm not talking about IP networking and our acronym. What was it? Never throw sausage pizza away, something like that. But anyway, I'm talking about networking with people. And that's probably the biggest thing I've taken away this week, besides all of the knowledge about everything from radio broadcast engineering, just getting to know people and meeting people, because I know I'm not going to come away this week with an engineering degree and be able to do everything at my station, but I'm going to know people that I can contact now and when I have issues, and we can get stuff straightened out pretty quick. So that's what I'm real proud of about this week. But I'm kind of like the jack of all trades at our radio station, I guess. I do the morning show, so I'm an on-air personality, and I do sales. I'm currently the interim general manager for our radio station. I'm the sports program director, and I'm also the custodian and maintenance man at our radio station.
Wow!
So why not be the engineer as well?
Make your money hand over fist, man. Woo!
Well, there's only 4 or 5 of us that work there, and we're all part time.
Yeah.
So we all pitch in and do what needs to be done, and that's what we do to keep our radio station alive and viable for our community, because that's what it's all about.
So being on the air, you probably that informs you pretty well about what needs to be done engineering wise. Hey, this doesn't work right. This toggle's funny. Yeah. I need to look at this update on this computer, because I did that. I was on the air and I was interested in engineering, and so the two played together pretty well.
Yeah, and I've always been interested in engineering, and I want to learn how to do all this stuff that needs to be done. But you're absolutely right. I'm sitting there in the morning show, and I've got my headset on, and I hear static. And I know that it's coming from my cue switch and everything. So now what do I got to do when I sign off the radio today and we go to satellite programming? What can I do to correct this problem and get the static out of the cue side of it and things like that? So I'm always constantly working on things. I noticed one day that our left channel was a little bit louder in my car than my right channel. So, I spent the next 2 or 3 days trying to figure out how do I get the right channel back up at the same volume, and why is it doing that?
Yeah,
So you're always just tracking down problems. And our radio station is small budget. So, we don't have the IP networks like Dominic was talking about earlier. That would be great to have. We don't have the budget to buy that kind of stuff right now. And also we've still got the analog wires running all over the place. The spaghetti room is what I call it. Cause it's just all wires everywhere, but we still got that, and it works, and we can keep, and I can maintain it. So that's what we're doing.
It's interesting. You a minute ago, you said you listened to it, you heard an issue, spent the next 2 or 3 days figuring out what it is. Sometimes it's difficult to figure out, am I fixing the symptom or am I fixing the problem?
Yeah.
Do you have your own compass for your troubleshooting into, when are you satisfied? When the symptom's done, or sometimes do you worry about, did I really find the problem causing that?
No, I like to try to find the problem. For instance, we switched to Christmas music over the holidays, over Christmas, the whole month of December, and I was having a closure that just would not play right. And it was supposed to be a 3-second closure, and it was playing 10-second liners, and I was like, this just sounds terrible. And I had to go in there, and try to figure it out. And I could have very easily taken all the 10-second liners out and put 3-second liners in it, and it would have worked. But why was it playing the wrong liners was my big thing. So I went in there and started tracking through the spaghetti and found 2 wires that were soldered together, triggering 2 closures together. So I mean, I made that switch and got it all fixed, and it sounded great for the rest of Christmas. And I was real proud that I found the problem and fixed it.
So
not just worked around it.
Now, so far, every problem that you've mentioned is not a problem with IP.
No, probably not. Probably not. And we're getting ready to change our automation software out and do something different with our automation. And so that's going to take a lot of wiring and a lot of replacement stuff. So I'm hoping that when we do this, that maybe we can correct some of the spaghetti. I know we won't get rid of it all, but maybe we can thin it out a little bit, and maybe turn it into linguine instead of spaghetti back there.
I know you didn't ask my opinion, but years ago, I was hired in part to get rid of all the spaghetti, or get rid of as much as I could, at a group of stations in West Kentucky. And I spent a lot of time, I'd find a wire that didn't go anywhere, and I'd carefully trace it back to find out where it came from so I could make sure it wasn't important.
Absolutely.
But I can tell you right now, if one end didn't go anywhere, it wasn't important.
It comes out. Yeah.
I could start cutting that wherever I wanted to.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of that at our station. Found wires that weren't being used anymore and removed them and pulled them out just to thin out the spaghetti, where I can track things down a little easier. But we were talking earlier in the class this week about color codes, and where green is, I think you said green was a negative maybe, and white was the hot. And I was there thinking the whole time, not at our station. It's the exact opposite at our station. Nothing is standard at our station, but we're gonna get it there eventually, hopefully.
How do you feel about the test tomorrow? You gonna take that test?
I am going to take it, and I feel good about it because it's an open book test, for one thing. So I feel good about that. So I think I can solve my problems and hunt them down if I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. So I feel good about the test, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
If you can phone a friend, you're welcome to call me. Now, I may not be able to help you with the question, but we can chat.
I'll get your number before I leave today, then, for sure. But I do feel good about the test tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
John Mike, man.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
We are live in Hoover, Alabama, at the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and it's time for a quick ad for one of our terrific sponsors, and that's Innovonics. And Innovonics has a brand new product, almost brand new. It hadn't been out very long. It's a triple tuner. And you know what? I should probably get Larry to come back here, because we're going to talk about EAS here for just a couple minutes. The Innovonics triple tuner is the Innovonics 677. And Suncast might have a graphic he can bring up about that. There it is, the triple tuner for AM, FM, and NOAA weather radio. And it doesn't have to be those 3 things. You can have 2 FMs and NOAA, or FM and 2 NOAAs, or whatever. But this is a half rack unit that is made by Innovonics, so it's just as cool as can be. You can remote into its web interface. You can listen to the tuners by remote, by the web interface, to make sure that they're all picking up properly. And it's got balanced audio output, so that's really cool. It's got 3 different antenna inputs, so you can, whatever style you need. If you have an AM, one of the tuners is set up for AM, well, you may need to give it a loop antenna. You may need to give it an FM antenna pointed somewhere for the FM input. And NOAA weather radio, you may need even a directional weather antenna for that. Point is, this is built to do exactly what you need. It also can give you contact closures if things are going wrong, if you are losing RF. for example, on one of your assigned monitoring stations, and it can also give you, I believe, it can do email or SMS if something goes wrong too. So yeah, alarms on audio loss, low signal, if there's an RDS error, and also if there is some kind of error with the alert tone, you can get all these alerts to you. Oh, sorry there, Siri. So Innovonics is so what's the word I'm looking for? Innovative. That's right. Innovonics, innovative.
Innovative.
I should have figured that out quicker. In developing their products, and I've got a number of Innovonics products. I don't have this one yet, but you can bet that our next triple tuner is going to be one of these. Larry,
That is something that's really needed in working with EAS, because right now people are using like little radios they buy at the big box store, and
Yeah.
they sit in. It's got a knob that tunes your frequency, and you never can get it right on the right station, or you get it on the station and somebody comes by and changes it. And so something like this is really good to get your monitor sources. I like the feature where all three can be anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah.
be all of them can be FMs if you want
Sure.
to. It doesn't have to be AMs or weather. So-
what I also like about this is, of course, if the power goes out, when the power comes back on, they tune back to the same stations. And some tuners off the shelf, like the ones from the big box stores, some that are adapted for rack mount, some of these don't come back on to the station that they were on when the power went off. So that can be a real problem for you.
Yeah, I've been to several stations doing inspections, and one of the problems I run into is the monitor sources are not working. I actually went to a station one time, and you'll get a chuckle out of this one. I went in and I looked, and one of his monitor inputs was dead. It was not working.
Mhm.
So I said, well, why don't we just walk around back behind the rack and see if a wire broke off or
Mhm.
whatever? Well, what we found was he was using just a regular old home radio, boom box type thing. Well, the board operator had unplugged the power supply to it and plugged in his cell phone charger.
Oh, gosh.
So
Yeah.
things like that don't happen with the Innovonics.
Well, and the enemy is counting on that,
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Check it out from Innovonics, the 677 triple tuner. Thanks a lot, Innovonics, and Broadcasters General Store. That's where you can get your best price from BGS. You can go to their website at bgs.cc or call them at 352-622-7700. I was just dealing with BGS yesterday. Talked to Buck Waters, and he's just awesome. They have sharp pencils there at BGS, and you can talk to anybody that picks up the phone, and they will. So call them at Broadcasters General Store.
Oh, Buck, great. I love Buck.
He's awesome.
He is.
He's a calm
He's
dude.
tall too.
He's tall and calm.
I
Yeah.
know.
I spent a month with him one week.
Did you?
We were touring Oregon, going to SBE meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's a good fella. All right. Let's see. What else were we going to? Oh, yeah.
I wanted to tell about the classes coming up. So if people
Okay.
want to register.
Classes coming up. And then we're also going to mention this, you breaking into everybody's EASs and checking those out. And then we'll have some more show and tell.
Okay.
So anyway, yes. What's coming up?
The next class we got coming up is a television class, and that'll be the week of April the 8th here at the same location. And then our next radio class will be in June, the week of the 24th. And you can register online at the ABA website. It's al-ba.com. And the neat thing about it, and when Josh was here, he was talking about it, we offer these things at no charge. We don't charge anything for the classes. It's underwritten by Max Connect.
Okay.
And so they do have to pay $50 for registration, but that's just to hold their seat.
Yeah.
When they get here, it's refunded.
Okay.
So the total cost is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you guys put that money into Bitcoin and Bermuda securities and things like that. And I hope you don't lose money, when
I
you
lost all of mine down in Biloxi.
Biloxi, that's right. Oh, gosh. Okay. Now, I alluded to something earlier. We're going to have some more show and tell in just a minute, but I alluded to something earlier, and that is Larry Wilkins breaking into all the radio stations in Alabama to check out their EAS gear. Now, what's this rumor about?
Well, what we did was, and it came out sort of by accident. I had a call.
Oh, yeah, that's what I tell the police, too. It was it was an accident, yeah.
Yeah, already. I had a call from the governor's office, which was exciting, but it was, they had run an Amber Alert the night before.
Yeah.
And the head of ALEO, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, which operates the Amber Alerts, he said, we ran an Amber last night. I said, yeah, I heard it. He said, can you tell me how many radio and TV stations received that and relayed it? Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully or happily, I was on the phone and he couldn't see that I turned red face and all. And I said, "Well, no, not right now, but it'll take me a few days to call everybody and find out."
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about it. I said, there's got to be a way that we can do this automatically. I mean, everything's automation now. And I got to looking at the Sage Index, and it actually has a section in there where you can send reports of anything that's happened to an FTP site.
Oh.
So ABA already has an FTP site where they post all their PEP spots. And so I just went in and created another folder called EAS.
Yeah.
Nice name, huh?
Yeah.
And then we go to radio stations and we program that in there. And so everything that they do comes down to our FTP site. We're doing now, I think it's around 170 stations.
What? 170 stations
that we're monitoring.
FTP their logs to you.
That's correct. And I create a database. And I tell the people when we do it, it doesn't cost them anything. They don't know what's going on. It's in the background. But I tell the managers, I said, we're not spying on you. We just want, as chairman of the SECC, the State Emergency Communications Committee, I want to make sure that my distribution system is working.
Mhm.
And if I see there's a certain part of the state that's got a problem, then I can dig into it and find out what it is.
Yeah.
So this just gives me and the rest of the committee a way to look and see if everything is going the way that it's supposed to be. And so we do that, and I create the database. I don't send it to anybody. I'm the only one that sees it.
Yeah.
But I create the database and I look at it. And if I see a station having a problem, I'll contact the engineer and say, "Hey, you need to check your monitor input number 2. There's no audio on it." And they'll say, "Oh, thank you very much." So,
okay.
Because, unfortunately, most of these EAS devices sit in a back room.
Yeah.
And nobody
Yeah.
pays attention to it.
Right.
And it could go, months and not have any audio on a monitor point. So we look at it. I mean, we're watching them. And it's been a good project. I've had a lot of other states call to find out. As a matter of fact, I did a presentation at the NAB one year, one of the conferences they have out there, about our EAS system. And at the end of the presentation, the room was full of people, and somebody came up to the mic. They always have an interview mic at those conferences, and they said, "How did you get the stations and the managers to agree to that?" I said, "Well, most of them I didn't even tell them. I just went in there and did it, So
What, during your ABIP inspection, or did you just visit them?
Mostly during the ABI inspection. But what I will do is when I get into a market, do inspections, and the way I do that, I'll get one that's due.
Yeah.
They have to renew every 3 years.
Yeah.
Then I'll find somebody else in the town that needs an inspection. So I'll do 2 or 3
Okay.
and share the travel expense, so they all don't have to pay the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to triple charge people. So, but what I will do is if I have a station in that market that I know is not part of our monitoring system, I'll go by and just tell them I want to take a look at, as a courtesy of the ABA.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just want to look at your EAS and make sure everything's okay.
Because it's required that it be working anyway.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
required.
Yeah.
And now, as you know, the new software 96.0 is out, and we've been working diligently around the state, making sure people get that updated.
Yeah.
I've actually done a ton of them, getting into their machines remotely and loading the software, and they really appreciate that, because a lot of the mom and pop stations don't have an engineer.
Yeah.
Don't have anybody to do that. So we're just trying to make people compliant. That's all it is.
I'm curious about a couple things. How often are those logs uploaded to your FTP site?
Every second.
Okay.
Yeah, instantaneous.
So whenever something happens.
That's correct. It sends it.
Okay.
And then what I will do is, I haven't found anybody with the knowledge that can write some software that will do it for me, but I've discovered I can go in and purge it out and prioritize it and just see what I want to see.
Yeah.
Because I don't keep up with weekly tests and stuff that way. I just keep up with required monthly tests and IPAWS and stuff that way. And Amber Alert, of course.
And the other question was, you said that you go in and update people's Sage Index with the latest software.
Right.
What is your method generally of getting into there? Do you go into a computer that they already have at the station?
Sometimes what we've done lately, and we sort of checked into it and discovered it wasn't as much of a security issue as we thought, we'll have an open up a port so that
Yeah.
I can get into it.
Yeah.
And that way, and they just leave that port open, And then throughout the year or whatever, if they have an issue or something needs to be changed, I can do it at night. They don't even know I got in it to fix it.
Yeah.
And as I say, a lot of the mom and pops love that because they don't have anybody to do it.
Gotcha. All right. We're talking to Larry Wilkins here at the ABA in Hoover, Alabama. Larry, we got a few show and tell items to talk about. And plenty of you engineers will know what these things are, but some of these things may be new to you or old to you that you haven't seen one in a while. Larry, what's the first item up for bid? I mean, that you're going to show us here.
Oh, we have a drawing. That's what it is. This is an AM field strength meter station. You know, there's still some AM stations around that are directional.
Sure.
And so you have to have one of these to go out in the field and make sure that your directional pattern is correct. So we take this out in the field when we do an inspection of a directional station and go out and check it to make sure that it's legal.
If you wouldn't mind, close the cover and show us the top next to the handle. Yeah, go ahead, because the lid is where the antenna is. There's a loop antenna in the lid.
That's right.
And when you, well, that's heavy, man. I forgot how heavy these things were. But in the top, there's these contacts right here, and when you open the lid all the way up, the ground and two other contacts from the antenna, the loop, make contact with 3 points on the radio itself.
Sure.
And this is a $5,000 AM radio.
Yes, it is. It's an AM radio.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get sort of funny things happen when you go out in the field, and people start looking at you and wondering what you're doing. I actually went out one time on one in Montgomery, and one of the monitor points I had to look at was at a prison, right outside a prison.
Sure, yeah.
So I was out there with this, and I looked, and all the guards up in the tower had their binoculars, like, "Oh, what's this guy doing?" So you have to be careful where you are when you do things.
Well, I'm measuring how long a knife I need to put in the cake.
That's right. I always say this is an ugly finder. And that way people leave when
it's an ugly finder. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
This is a classic.
But by the way, these AM field strength meters, what else is interesting is when you have one of those and you take it through security at the airport. Oh, yeah, they have a lot of questions.
This is the old Simpson meter. Everyone now has a digital meter.
Sure.
But this can do things that a digital meter can't.
I was just going to ask you.
Audio.
It can what?
You can read audio on this. You can't do that on a digital.
Right. You can read decibel audio.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. And we use this a lot in the class here and showing different things and showing how capacitors and inductors work and everything. And this is a real classic. You don't see many of them anymore.
There are other analog meters. The Simpson is kind of like the gold standard because everybody kind of knew. There were tens of thousands of these, if not more, made, and they were in classrooms. And if you took electronics back in the 50s or 60s or 70s, you'd have one of those.
Yeah, you need to have one. I had another one a long time ago, and I say they're rugged, but they're not rugged when they fall off the ladder. I was actually up on a ladder doing something, and it decided it wanted to go this way, and when it did, it busted the case. Wow. But sometimes you can find these on eBay and all. So.
Yeah. I've got one. I'm not sure what radio station I borrowed it from. All right, we are here at the ABA, Alabama Broadcast Association, Kirk Harnack, Larry Wilkins. We have I don't know if we have anything else to show and tell or not. We got one quick commercial break, and then we'll have just time for a tip of the week when we come back. Our show is brought to you in part by Angry Audio. What a name, Angry Audio. They're actually in Franklin, Tennessee, just down the road from Kirk Harnack's world headquarters for This Week in Radio Tech. But Angry Audio has this new audio console. And hey, Suncast, I'm sorry to spring this on you, but let's take a look at the Rave console from Angry Audio. Now, this is not an audio over IP console. This is not even a digital console. This is an analog audio console. It has a lot of modern conveniences on it, though. So if what you need is a standalone console that's easy to hook up and easy to use because the visually, it's just really well done. Hey, Suncast, stay there. That looks great. On the back of the console, it has all of these. They look like Ethernet connectors, but they're not. They are RJ45. They're Ethernet sockets, and this is where you plug in your audio inputs and outputs, all according to the Studio Hub standard. You can install one of these consoles and not have to do any soldering whatsoever. You just use Studio Hub adapters. Some equipment already comes with a studio output or input, and you just plug a piece of Cat5 cable between the piece of equipment and the console. It does have mic preamplifiers. in it. It'll do mix minus for handling a codec or a phone hybrid, and it's really well built, and it's a heavy little dude. But this is a beautiful console for a small room or to run your whole station. You can, if you're doing maybe an LPFM, maybe a web streaming radio station. This is a great choice. It for a control room or a production room. Really, the power supply is built in. And it is just heavy duty. It's really awesome. I must say the mic preamps on these things. This is designed by Mike Dosh, and Mike has designed all kinds of audio gear, including remember Pacific Recorders, PR&E.
Sure.
He designed some of the gear at PR&E, and my goodness, it works so well. Of course, it plugs right into other equipment from Angry Audio, including their mic preamps and processors. If you want to do some mic processing before you go into board, if you have that USB audio interface, well, that has Studio Hub connectors on it. You can plug them right into that. There's a whole line. Well, here we go. We're looking here at a whole line of audio processors, mic tally gadgets, USB audio gizmos. There's a couple different mic processors, the Bluetooth gadget, so you can run your phone right into the board that way and have a two-way conversation with somebody on your cell phone. Really cool. Check it out. The website is angryaudio.com. Angryaudio.com. And then you can buy these through your favorite dealer. Almost every dealer on the planet of broadcast equipment carries Angry Audio. So you need to check it out, and you'll enjoy what you get from Angry Audio. Well, it's time for a tip or a final word of the week. We didn't get to everybody who maybe said they wanted to come be on the show for a minute.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people here. So.
Lloyd keeps looking at me. Do you think he might want to say hi and be on the show? No, I don't know. And Lloyd is a new engineer, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
He's building a brand new station.
Lloyd, pop on up here for a second. Most of these guys have been engineers or around radio stations a long time. You, on the other hand, are you a little bit new to this whole idea?
Yes, I'm very new. I do have an engineering background, so I'm not totally lost. And
Yeah.
I am familiar with ham radio because I have my ham license. But
okay.
This broadcast is very different.
So tell me what kind of license you got and what you're doing.
I have a general license.
Mhm.
I mean, for our station.
Yeah, tell me about your station.
We have a non-commercial educational license,
Yeah.
Class A license, and so we got permission to build, and so that's where we are at. We are located in Roanoke, Alabama. We are a wellness lifestyle center. I'm a lifestyle coach, helping people living a healthier lifestyle through lifestyle changes. And so I'm the guy who they put to lead out, help us to get our license.
Awesome.
I'll tell you this. We have our consultant, and he was telling us things that you need to get. And, Larry answers my questions, and he and Frank, they've been very patient. But when our consultant told me, so you need to get nitrogen gas, and you need to have like a dry air with desiccants for your transmission line.
Right.
As a ham radio, I'm thinking transmission line is regular coax.
Yeah.
So he's like telling me to keep things dry. I had no clue. But in fact, when Larry brought out right in the corner and showed me what the transmission line was, and he explained it. Oh, it's a big tube like this.
Yeah,
If you just for show and tell for a moment.
Here.
Right
you
here.
hold the mic. I'll go grab it. So this is a piece of, I would call this hard line.
Hard line,
Hard
yeah.
line, and this is not flexible.
No, it's
you
not.
Cut this to length,
Uh-huh.
and you use elbows where you need to make a turn.
Right.
And of course, and people watching the show know what this is, but there's an inner conductor.
Yes.
And an outer conductor. And
inside is hot.
And we need to keep that dry between those two.
Yes.
Otherwise
you can have arcing on the inside, and you need to keep the temperature so it doesn't get too hot, and you don't want it to get wet.
Right.
Now I understood when he showed me this picture. It's like, the consultant, and now I know why I would need to get nitrogen gas. And through this class, things are like thrown at me. I'm not quite sure the reason why and how things hook up. And yes, there's a price involved, but how do I choose which one is best? Because he said, this is okay and this is okay. But it's like, okay, choose which one. This class explains so much to me that I can make better decisions. And for our president, I can say, well, this is what our consultant says, but this is what we can go with. Explain so much.
Now, as a 45-year engineering veteran, I'll give you a piece of advice. You got several choices on the air that you put into your transmission line,
Okay.
and to keep it dry. And you don't have to put much pressure in. You're just trying to keep moisture out. That's it.
Okay.
Right. So a pound or two works. 5 pounds works. You don't need 10, 15 pounds of pressure. And you can use. You mentioned dry air. They have these pumps that get air and run it through a desiccant, like you said, that dries it. Right. You can use bottled nitrogen. Some people buy a nitrogen generator that actually gets nitrogen out of the atmosphere. But I'll tell you this:
Okay.
if you will get a tank of laughing gas instead, you will have a much better time. When things go wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
yeah.
see, I don't have much here. So it's like, I might need some.
Anybody ever tried laughing gas instead of? No. I mean, for your transmission line. No. Okay. I think you might have to have a prescription for that. I don't. That was a remote. That's right. And I'm not sure helium's a good idea, but it makes the tower lighter.
Yeah. And I'm appreciative for him explaining how everything's connected together and how antennas work.
Yeah.
Because you see, we thought it would be easy. We have a consultant and we got approved, but where we're supposed to put the antenna, that's not working out. And so we had to look for other options. And it's like he's changing the length and the power. And I'm thinking, okay, a water tank is only this high. How is that going to work? And that might not be bad. But then he says, we can put our own tire up and then go this high. But wait a minute, the FCC says we can only go this high. I'm wondering, how is this? This really isn't making sense to me, this variable. But then in this class, it says, yes, you're not bounded. This is the requirements for the ERP and the height and so forth. And you could change things around. And it's like, okay, things of what our consultants was telling me was making more sense
Yeah.
on how things work and how things be put together.
It's like that with so many disciplines. If you want advice on working the HF ham bands, it's best to talk to another ham
Yeah.
who works the HF ham bands.
Yes.
If you want to learn about, VHF or UHF propagation, then, talk to somebody who does that.
Yeah.
And same thing for broadcast. A lot of us are ham operators or ham licensed, but not everyone knows about all the varieties of where and how you can change your FM antenna
Yeah.
height and power and what options you have.
And the number of bays is like, okay, we're not locked into 2. You could go to 3 and 4, and then you look at the cost issues. Oh, okay.
And I look at that. Some stations, I've seen stations with a 14 bay antenna and a little bitty transmitter. I'm thinking all that money is up there on the tower. And if anything goes wrong, we got to hire a crew and go off the air to maybe fix it. Whereas, if the money's on the ground with a bigger transmitter, I can fix it. But there's a lot of trade-offs there.
Yeah.
You don't want 1 bay and 100,000 watt transmitter either.
No, and it's like redundancy, have backups. So I'm very appreciative of Larry and this class. Cool. And I've learned a lot and I appreciate it so much.
Well, Lloyd, thanks for making the trip up here. Appreciate you. And Lloyd is here along with a bunch of other engineers. And hey, we're out of time. We got to go. I want to thank Larry Wilkins for inviting me down here and give us and for putting this thing on. For the engineers that are here, they do this a couple times a year for radio and for television and the usual ABA convention. All this is, you can find out about this at the ABA website. You can, of course, Google Alabama Broadcasters Association. You can go to al-ba.com. Is that right? AL as in Alabama-BA Broadcast Association. .com. We'll put links to that in the show notes. Thanks to all of our sponsors on This Week in Radio Tech. I hope Chris makes his way out of the woods and finds some internet. And we'll see you next week on This Week in Radio Tech.